It celebrates a history that is unique to the state and a culture that remains strong and proud. For 100 years, a trail has been traveled, carved to connect the remote world, later blazed by gold seekers and risk takers. And after 1973, this trail would never be the same. For 40 years, Alaska's greatest sporting event has evolved and continued to accomplish its purpose and keep tradition alive. It's seen the likes of Reddington, Swenson, Butcher, Boozer, King, and Mackey, names that are now woven into every turn and linked by every mile. For these 66 teams, a search for timelessness, a race whose history is now 4 decades old. The winner is never forgotten. The challengers will drift off in time. JBaker and Inupiaq brought the trophy and the pride home in 2011. He will look to become just the 8th multiple winner, but he'll have to beat those mentioned and a crop of young guns looking for their spot in history. For 40 years, March has begun with the Iditarod sled dog race, and today begins another run at immortality. Welcome to the 40th Iditarod.
All right, and coming up to the line now, of course, last year's champion.
Oh, here's a guy we don't know anything about, JBaker.
And look at these dogs.
Beautiful.
These dogs are coming up on leashes, absolutely calm, under control. They
set a
like
record last year, 8 days, 18 hours. Everybody knows he's the guy to beat this year. He says he feels good. He's got a lot of the same dogs in. He's got some 65, 70 pounders in here, which he likes. He likes power. And I tell you what, you'd better be ready, because I think he could easily win this, be second-time champion this year.
Oh, yeah, and, these are good-sized dogs. That's got to be some power there, that's for sure.
And John and his family is just a gentleman, too. Andy's on the sled, Andy Baker, who's president of the Iditarod Trail Committee now, so... And John just looks amazingly calm, doesn't he?
Oh, just like his dogs.
When I was racing,
and his dogs all look like this is just another day at the office.
Another day at the office. And John was one of these guys, you'd be at a checkpoint, you lay down to go to sleep, he'd be snoring before he hit the bed. He could just sleep through anything. He's real relaxed, real comfortable. The vice versa, the other side of it, he was hard to wake up. He always had 3, 4 people. And of course, none of us would wake him up. We leave him there.
John out of Kotzebue.
First Eskimo to win the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race last year, and that was a big deal. The people in Kotzebue, his home village, are just loving to death, and just a wonderful thing to see. Here he goes. He's getting ready to go. Our current champion of the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, JBaker, is leaving the chute right now.
There he goes.
There he goes.
Trail to know.
He's just a beautiful sled, and look at that dog team. It is amazing.
And we'll be back with more in the 2012 Iditarod Restart.
I think the teams that are in the back of the pack are at a huge disadvantage this year.
Yeah, they may be.
Fall apart to where they just wouldn't be able to have the speed that the front has. Jeff's in a good position.
His last win was in 2006 and a second place in 2008. Jeff King back on the Iditarod Trail where he belongs. And now to the line, our defending champion out of Kotzebue, Alaska, JBaker. It took him a long time to get there first. He had a lot of top 10, some top 5 finishes. What finally got him over the hump?
Well, I talked to John just a little while ago, and he was saying, geez, it took me 16 tries to do this thing. And I think it's gaining that depth of experience and not making mistakes over. A lot of times John made little mistakes. He was always right there as one of the top competitors, but he made little mistakes that we all watched out on the trail, and that just took him out of the contention to win. And last year he kind of just put it all together in a nice, neat package. And he told me just minutes ago before he came to the starting line, he goes, well, they may come up and compete with me, but they got to go through JBaker world if they want to get to the front line first, because when this guy gets going out there on the coast, he is not going to stop. He is rock solid. He is not afraid of being tired. He's not afraid of doing without sleep and meals. And I really still say this is one of the top 2 teams to beat this year.
Well,
and incredible dogs. Incredible dogs.
Velvet and Snickers will be his lead dogs again this year. And JBaker, and of course, Western Alaska really came alive. You saw the chest swell last year as he got the Keltag in the lead, and it was obvious when he got off the river that John was the team to beat, and you could just feel the pride swelling as he got to the coast.
And that's why this race was started 40 years ago, was to keep that interest in the importance of the sled dog in rural Alaska. That really is the core of this event that started it. And John, it's nice that he is the current champion, because he is an example that it worked, and he brought that pride back to the villages. And I guarantee you we will continue to see sled dogs in those villages, not only because of Joe Reddington, but because of JBaker now.
I agree. Let's take a timeout. Iditarod 40 continues.
And number 21, JBaker.
All of my family and friends that have helped me so much, especially Catherine. Thank you for a wonderful year, and next year we'll do better. Thank you.
And coming up to the line now, we've got the 2011 winner of the Iditarod, and set the fastest time.
Oh boy,
JBaker from Kotzebue.
Yes, first Eskimo to win the Iditarod, and you know, John is just one of these competitors that he had a tough race last year, and I think fell out of the top 5, certainly in the top 10. But I'm sure
he came in 9th place
last
year.
He wants to regain that. And you know, the southern route may be just made for JBaker, you know, because it's tougher, longer hills, and you got to go up the Yukon River 200 miles into the wind and things like that. So it's made for JBaker.
Yeah, because he's trained in those kind of conditions.
And that's how he
won,
won,
Kotz, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so
did he? Yeah, he won on this route, correct?
And look at these dogs; they're big and strong.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, John's got some big dogs here. And do you plan for that when you put your team together, whether you're on the southern or northern round? Does that make any difference at all?
Well, I think a little bit. I think John, I've known him for 25, 30 years. He's a bigger man and likes bigger dogs. He trains, feels comfortable with them. You're talking about one of the nicest men on earth when you're talking about JBaker. I was fortunate to be a public defender up in Kotzebue and met their family, and it's just, I tell you, there's no better person. And look at that smile on him. He's smiling like that. And the thing I used to hate about him on the Iditarod is he'd fall asleep so quick. I'm not a very good sleeper. He'd fall asleep on the way down to the bed. It just drive me crazy. But a great guy, great champion. And
yeah, I remember everybody being so happy for him when he won, because it was time for an Alaska Native win race. So
well, there's been 3 Athabascan champions, and he was the first Eskimo champion. That was a great thing.
Yeah,
and it's good for the sport.
And here he goes, JBaker stepping onto the runner. And one more hug, and off John goes to Nome. There he goes.
He's got all 16.
He's
got some bigger guys in there.
Yeah, he sure does. All right, so John's off and going, and now we've got Paige Dropney from Fairbanks.
And this is probably, I'm just checking to see if this is not her rookie year. It might.
I'm pretty.
Be cold for 10 days and miserable and not get any sleep and eat poor food, then yeah, you can do that.
Well,
now here's a guy that can win coming up right now for sure.
Any year,
any time. JBaker.
He's got the financial support in his kennel. He's got certainly all of Western Alaska rooting for this guy and helping him out whenever he needs it. And John Baker proving 2 years ago that he now has the mindset that it takes to win. And he got there first, the speed record holder here.
John holds the speed record on the southern route, which is a little longer. And if you look at him, he's also got bib number 13, the winningest number in Iditarod. 13 is considered a lucky number in sled dog racing. And John just year before last won on this very same southern route. Another thing about John, and he's got these great old trapline village sled dogs that can just do anything, and that's how he won that race. They are solid, they are strong, they're really good leaders that can handle wind, move in and out of checkpoints efficiently, and I figured during the 2011 Iditarod that he won. I sat there and timed him going in and out of checkpoints, and just because of the efficiency and quickness of his leaders going around buildings and getting in and out, he was making up 10 minutes every time on his fellow competitors. 10 minutes times 20-some checkpoints, you're ahead a little bit, and it matters given time.
And John, being one of the larger mushers, he set the speed record probably because of his efficiency in the checkpoints. True?
Those leaders that helped him get around and his efficiency definitely helped him get that speed record.
Velvet and Snickers were his leaders 2 years ago, and I believe Velvet is still in the team. I think Snickers has been retired.
That's correct. I think that is exactly right. There was one he didn't want to bring, but he definitely will have a really good team. Now, this is one of my favorite rookies here.
Yeah? Now tell us why.
Well, because she's new to it. Look at her face, how she's smiling. I mean, she's just into this. She has no idea what she's going to feel like in 4 days.
John is 51 years old.
We're fortunate to have a trail to race on this year. The group of people that put the race together did a good job. It just wasn't the type of trail that was good for my team. So I have to be happy with that. I'm glad for people that had teams that were good at this type of trail, but mine just wasn't. That's okay. It'll be better next time.
Now here they're all in.
Hi. Okay. Hi. We made it. What a good feeling. I wasn't sure we would till we saw the front street of Nome. Then I thought I should put my bib on. Yeah, this is my daughter Amelia. I'm so happy to see her. Great. How was the trail? It was a beautiful trail. It was challenging and makes it all the more worthwhile to make it to the finish line. Yeah, it was tough, and our dogs are tough, and we're tough, and we made it, so very proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We made it, we made it.
How you doing?
Oh, you have to carry me, but...
Oh, yeah.
Lots of exuberant moments just because there are so many thrilling portions of the trail. Every time I got to the end of one, I did a little jig, you know, but there was one favorite moment at the old women's shelter cabin between, Clayton Shack Tulik, and I got to spend about 6 or 7 hours there, and I just thought it was a beautiful place getting to camp out with the dogs. And then there are definitely some big climbs coming in here once we got to the coast, and so it's surprising when the dogs are really climbing up the hills, you get to the top. It's just such a good feeling. At the top of the mountain, you can see all around you. So those moments are always real thrilling, just like climbing a mountain. I always get to be real proud.
And from Anna, we go to John Baker from Kotzebue. He was the champion in 2011, and this is the current speed holder in Iditarod. He did it in 8 days, 17 hours, 46 minutes, and 39 seconds. And, I will never forget John Baker's championship. And We'll go to John first, and then we'll talk about that when we come back.
As a record holder, your thoughts on that? Could there be some records broken this year?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of good teams capable of breaking the record. So that's what the records are for, is to be broken, and just hope everybody has a good race.
Bruce, we were both out there in 2011, and I will never forget the way Western Alaska swelled with pride as he came off the river in Caltag and started the move over the portage to Unalakleet. I will never forget that as long as I live. And just the way the towns of Unalakleet and then Shaktoolik and Koyuk and Elam greeted him, and then of course Nome was incredible. You were there.
Yeah, it was amazing, and it was kind of the full circle of what Joe Reddington had started, that a champion team would come out of the villages. And of course John's from Kotzebue, the Nana region. I lived up there for about 6 years, and there's a rich dog mushing history. Some of the people that ran the very first Iditarod came out of that region, and John just took that and turned it into a championship. And he's a very good, gracious man with his championship and helping the people and supporting the people of his region of Alaska.
Yeah, he's the first one to thank those that helped him in that journey. I mean, it took him 16 years of running this race and support from that region, and John is the first one and always the last one to give thanks and praise to those that helped him. And really, he takes very little credit for that championship in 2011. I will never forget that one. That was one of the great stories in this race's history. First Inupac to win it.
13 top 10 finishes.
Yeah, he's good.
Dude knows how to finish.
Yeah, he's good. Okay, now Catherine Keith from Kotzebue, 35 years old, born in Minnesota, lived there until she got done with high school. And of course, Catherine out of the JBaker camp. And together they train over 50 dogs in Kotzebue. And Catherine obviously taking the second team to Nome. And this is a young lady who is very serious about conditioning, not just the dogs, but her own. We'll talk about that after we talk to her.
As a rookie this year, what are your thoughts on the trail, and how did you prepare for this?
Boy, my thoughts on the trail are just that our dogs have worked hard in kind of challenging races already and challenging conditions, and I'm just hoping that that'll be enough to make them confident and capable in the whatever conditions we might find out there. As a rookie, I'm definitely just up for anything, you know, not sure what to expect. So just going to try to have a good attitude and have a great time on this incredible race.
And she's been around a lot of incredible races. I mean, this is an Ironman athlete, a true Ironman athlete, not a half Ironman. I mean, she's signed up for the real deal. She's completed several now and does 2 or 3 a year. Set to do the Coeur d'Alene this summer, and I think just did one in November or December somewhere. She's extremely fit.
Yeah, a lot of these mushers have other sports they're involved with, and she is fit, and they know what it's like to work through pain and keep going and have a goal. And I also think it's, you know, she's running in with John's dogs from Kotzebue area. And, you know, you ask a lot of people their dreams and what they want to do, and they want to travel here, or do this or that. And this is a good dog musher here, prototype, and saying that her dreams have always been flying a bush plane, eating caribou, running dogs, and having a camp in the Brooks Range. That's the kind of woman I like.
Yeah.
That's a good Alaska woman.
Yes. And Catherine on her way, and fun to talk to, man. She's just full of life.
The thing that's interesting about what Martin did was that he undoubtedly is one of the best mushers there is. So for him to do that is what makes it special. I'm not concerned with whoever wants to do that is fine. It's not something that I can do or would do just because of myself and my team doesn't fit that. Is it the right thing to do, or is it a good thing? Is it any of that? I don't know that, but Martin is one of the best. So if he thinks he can make that work, then more power to him. I think he changed the race tremendously, and interestingly, he didn't speed the race up, but he changed the way people ran it, and it gave him an advantage. And it changed the way the race was run after he was not racing it anymore. His style didn't improve the times, but it gave him an advantage, and that's a really, really interesting concept that he was able to do that.
And don't forget the other CV. Dallas backed up his win with a 4th place finish. And John Baker, 2 former champions who know how to get there first.
Being the Iditarod champion for that first year gives you a lot of responsibility that you have to live up to and work hard to try to carry the race. I didn't feel that I would run the race once I had won it, but turns out that it's a lifestyle that I like, and I enjoy the people involved at the race. I enjoy the dog, so I'm going to continue doing this as long as I can be successful at it.
You never go into the have, but it builds. It's a whole extra training field to pick from. I mean, Jeff King doesn't always have that. Not everyone does, but it definitely has some positive aspects. But you have to have a community of people around you that help with things like food drops, and just it takes more than one person.
At the line now, John Baker, one of the real important figures in this race for more than just what he does on the Iditarod Trail, but all the work that he does in outlying communities in the state. He's a really important figure, and what I was impressed about most were the way that his dogs casually walked up this starting line. Here's more with John, and we'll get Bruce's take on that in a moment.
We've definitely trained a lot different. We've had really, really good snow conditions, so the conditions have been good. We've had a real consistent year for training, so that's different for where we live. So it's just been, we haven't had bad things happen to us. It's all worked well.
John Baker, of course, the 2011 champion of the race, and
had the speed record until Dallas took it away.
Yeah.
He's had good training up there in the Kotzebue area. I like seeing, like I said before, these mushers come out of the coastal bush communities from the Nana region.
And notice who is getting on that back of that tow sled with John. It is the governor of Alaska. He's going for a ride.
He's got the connections.
And a sign for Marco Rubio in the front of the sled. Holy political statements going on here.
He and the two of them, I was looking at an interview that our Emily Carlson did with John about a month or two ago. And, of course, John, you mentioned, very, very plugged into the state. He and the governor, tight together. Our coverage continues here.
They had a shot at winning. I mean, just knowing these guys, that's what they're like, and their
Does it get
competitiveness.
A little more difficult for Hans to be a true contender in this when he's starting 84 teams back?
You know, there's times it works as an advantage and a disadvantage. So it depends on how this trail holds up going to Roan. If you're at the back and the trail deteriorates, it's going to cost you a lot of extra time.
At the line now is Catherine Keith out of Kotzebue, partnered up with John Baker. Finished 32nd in 2014, a scratch this past year. Here's more with Catherine Keith.
With the team that I have, I want a top 20 finish. And I want a top 20 finish in a way that allows us to have a great race, but also we're doing this wellness initiative right now, and we want to really support the communities in their wellness goals. So we want to be out there on the trail and also encouraging all the communities to do awesome things for themselves.
And don't mess with Catherine now.
That's it.
No, she's
a
an
world-class athlete now.
And the wellness issue she mentioned, the initiative, again, that John had started, very popular throughout the state, connected in with Governor Walker. Very influential, too. Made a lot of inroads and helped a lot of folks.
Yeah, we'll be hearing a lot more of that throughout this race. We'll be talking to John and Catherine about it. But they have an important mission in this state. And the suicide rate is something that I think the world is dealing with now, but it seems to be even worse in communities rural in this state. And Catherine and John doing great work with that. We wish them both well on the trail and beyond. And that gets us to bib number 86. I thought we were going to 85. We're actually going to 86. So, and that gets us to Martin Koenig.
Version of March Madness, though, here at Iditarod.
Well, speaking of champions, here comes another one. John Baker, when he won this race in 2011, broke the speed record that has since been taken over by Dallas Seavey. John said to us that when he won the race, it was always his goal to win this race, Kotzebue guy, and a big deal and a hero in that part of the state of Alaska. Beloved, respected for what he's done with the sport, helping get Kotzebue back on the map in mushing. He said that he wanted to win the race, and when he did it, he thought that he would retire and said, okay, well, that's enough. And then, like it does, it drew him back in, and he couldn't stay away.
He's an icon. For him to win this race was huge for Alaskans, but also our native Alaskans to be able to see him go out there and do what he did. And then he shares it. He's helped mentor Catherine Keith, who we're going to see here later on in the race. He welcomes many people into his home every year for the Kobuk 440 up there in Kotzebue.
He has started recently a leadership and wellness program, which is really, really growing around the state. And as fine a musher as he is, and he's as good as they get, this program is really picking up steam and strength. He has teamed up with Governor Walker.
3, 2, 1, go!
Out you go, former champion John Baker. And of course, the very serious topic of suicide has come to the forefront here in the state of Alaska. It's a problem everywhere, of course, but here in the state it has. The wellness program that he started began to morph into suicide prevention. And as you mentioned, he and Catherine have really taken it on and have understood that sometimes you start a program in one direction and it veers off and becomes something that a lot of people can rally around. And the importance of identifying it and perhaps helping those in need has become a big part of his life.
It's amazing to hear how many mushers are using this as a venue for helping improve other people's lives. And Mike Williams Jr., his father, was mushing for sobriety for many years. Now them mushing for suicide prevention. These mushers have huge hearts.
Well, it takes a special kind of person to do this to begin with. All right, it's the 85th to number 85 bib, technically, as Hans goes. Martin Koenig is going to finish things off for us today. Up Catherine Keith first, I beg your pardon. Then Martin is going to finish things off. We mentioned that she is with, of course, teamed up with John Baker and those the wonderful initiative that they've put together throughout the state. But now it's the business of trying to get to know him. She is an Ironman triathlete as well. Says that Hawaii is the goal one day, and if you can make that one, you've done okay. Was able to get to Lake Placid and get there and survive that one, but Hawaii is a different animal for different reasons. So to qualify for that, but she's going for a different kind of sport today. Completely different.
A little bit chillier today. She had a scratch last year, had to scratch. She's out at Old Woman Cabin, had to have some assistance with the dog out there, and decided to scratch for the benefit of the team. So she's looking to finish things up this year.
Right, and she does have a finish from 2 years ago when she was 32nd, a very impressive rookie finish. Even if you do have someone like John Baker in your corner, John Baker is not out there with you on the trail. So to get there in the top 32, that says something.
And they do train up there in Kotzebue, so used to the conditions where they're going to be finishing.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
And no gloves either, at least not now. The gloves will be coming out at some point, the hats. But for now, you're all right.
And next in the
She's wearing bib number 85. So here comes the 86th bib. That's Martin Koenig, a Swiss-born musher, but has been here for over 40 years. Says he actually went from Colorado to Montana on horseback.
He knows about traveling long distance then.
He's ready for the long haul. Iditarod number 45, our coverage rolls on from Anchorage, Alaska. Welcoming you back to Anchorage, Alaska, and the Iditarod. Again, the tradition, the 45th time. The first one back in 1973. 34 mushers took off that day from the Tudor track. Dick Wilmont's your winner. 22 of those teams finished. We will expect to see more than 22 teams finishing this time around 45 years later. Catherine Keith ready to go. And here's Catherine.
I'm really excited for this team of dogs. We were able to run the Yukon Quest this year. So I have 11 dogs from the Quest coming into Iditarod, so I can't wait to get them back out on the trail because I think they were just getting ready by the time they finished that race.
So as we just heard her say, when I talked to her, she just finished her very first Yukon Quest. She was impressed with it, what people call hills there, which are pretty big mountains and climbs. So this team's pretty tuned up and already in the racing mode. So it'd be really fun to see how she does this year after having that experience on the Yukon Quest for both her and her dogs.
And had a good run last year with 31st.
Well, I just wonder if eventually there's going to be a swap in that kennel, and John gives up the best dogs to Catherine, because I think this young lady could win this race down the road.
She's a marathoner, really competitive in sports.
She wants to win it. She's as competitive as anybody in this thing.
Ironman finisher as well. Yes.
Tough. Give her the best dogs, John.
This route where it was so cold at Tanana, he overcame a lot, but it takes its toll. John Baker, Iditarod champion.
Let's hear from John Baker.
What is it about? What is it that you've seen out on the trail in training that says, yes, we can do it?
They're smooth, they're efficient, and they're well trained.
Isn't it amazing that was 6 years ago? Wow, Bruce, you're getting low. 6 years ago that was. Man.
Well,
here's John going. He's saying hi to everybody. Oh.
I'll see you at the finish for sure.
John, one of the good guys of this race. He's always fun to have out there. He's so mellow and chill. Nothing rattles him. Nothing rattles him.
Nothing rattles him, not even the cold. He's got that right glove off.
And I think John's one that's probably happy that the race is going to Fairbanks. He comes out of Kotzebue. These warm starts down in South Central have always been a little difficult, and the colder temperatures benefit John's dogs coming from Kotzebue.
Iditarod number 45, our coverage rolls on from Anchorage, Alaska. Welcoming you back to Anchorage, Alaska, and the Iditarod. Again, the tradition, the 45th time. The first one back in 1973. 34 mushers took off that day from the Tudor track. Dick Wilmont's your winner. 22 of those teams finished. We will expect to see more than 22 teams finishing this time around 45 years later. Catherine Keith ready to go. And here's Catherine.
I'm really excited for this team of dogs. We were able to run the Yukon Quest this year. So I have 11 dogs from the Quest coming into Iditarod, so I can't wait to get them back out on the trail because I think they were just getting ready by the time they finished that race.
So as we just heard her say, when I talked to her, she just finished her very first Yukon Quest. She was impressed with it, what people call hills there, which are pretty big mountains and climbs. So this team's pretty tuned up and already in the racing mode. So it'd be really fun to see how she does this year after having that experience on the Yukon Quest for both her and her dogs.
And had a good run last year with 31st.
Well, I just wonder if eventually there's going to be a swap in that kennel, and John gives up the best dogs to Catherine, because I think this young lady could win this race down the road.
She's a marathoner, really competitive in sports.
She wants to win it. She's as competitive as anybody in this thing.
Ironman finisher as well. Yes.
Tough. Give her the best dogs, John.
This route where it was so cold at Tanana, he overcame a lot, but it takes its toll. John Baker, Iditarod champion.
Let's hear from John Baker. What is it about? What is it that you've seen out on the trail in training that says, yes, we can do it?
They're smooth, they're efficient, and they're well trained.
Isn't it amazing that was 6 years ago? Wow, Bruce, you're getting low. 6 years ago that was. Man.
Well,
here's John going. He's saying hi to everybody. Oh.
I'll see you at the finish for sure.
John, one of the good guys of this race. He's always fun to have out there. He's so mellow and chill. Nothing rattles him. Nothing rattles him.
Nothing rattles him, not even the cold. He's got that right glove off.
And I think John's one that's probably happy that the race is going to Fairbanks. He comes out of Kotzebue. These warm starts down in South Central have always been a little difficult, and the colder temperatures benefit John's dogs coming from Kotzebue.
Getting a look at the starting line. Yes, the starting line, folks, here in Fairbanks. Along with veteran musher Brian Bears, who completed this race back in 2006. I'm Dave Goldman. Happy to have you with us, our entire crew, as we watch Catherine Keith take off. Catherine, a very interesting story. Came up from the Midwest some years ago, got her degree, and then decided that the Iditarod was the way to go. She and John Baker are together now and race and train nearly 50 dogs in Kotzebue. And Catherine is bitten by the bug for sure, and very much into it, and a very skilled and talented musher. And you know, when you're with John Baker, you're certainly going to pick up some things because he's one of the best that's ever lived as well.
Oh, absolutely. Having won the Iditarod, he is one of the best. He's probably going to be the one running the A-team out of this kennel. But just because he's running the A-team does not mean that Catherine's going to be going slow. She ran the Quest. She was Rookie of the Year in the Iditarod. She's got the skill, and I would see her running a pretty good race here.
Well, you know, Bruce Lee, again, a good friend with the Insider, made the point the other day. They said, you know, he's wondering at what point, like we see with Ali Zirkle and Allen, at what point Catherine starts taking over that A-team and making a run. He thinks that she's the lady who has a chance to win one of these things at some point, especially when you've got that kennel already with John Baker. The pieces are certainly in place. How do you do that?
Oh, that was the magic of Lance. I think Lance hooked a line from the lead sled to his lead dogs and had a team of 2 dogs pulling his one sled.
Okay. So it looks like one of those double or triple trailers. You
Yeah.
can do double trailers here. You can do triple in Canada, I believe. I've seen that happen out on the Alcan.
People said it looked like a ghost team was being mushed in by Lance.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned before Catherine Keith, and here's the other half of that dynamic duo, and he's one of the fine mushers to ever get on a sled and run dogs. John Baker out of Kotzebue, champion in 2011, so before the Seavies really got going. Well, Mitch has certainly been around for a while, but before Dallas Seavey got into his groove, John Baker had himself a win in 2011. It was a big deal, too, when the Kotzebue native got that victory, too. For many of the smaller communities throughout the state of Alaska, one of the really respected mushers out there. Sportsmanship last year from Donlin Gold.
He's one of those soft-spoken mushers out there, but he is a giant on the trail, both figuratively and really. You look up to this guy. He's a guy who knows the dogs. He knows how to handle himself, and he's very, very well respected out there on the coast.
He'll have on bib number 65 this year for Iditarod number 45 with a wave to the crowd as he heads off into the Fairbanks afternoon. John Baker.
th position goes to Catherine Keith from Kotzebue. Fourth Iditarod start, 9 days, 5 hours, and 50 minutes. Congratulations.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out here. There are so many people to thank. I, of course, need to first thank my family, my mom, my sister, my daughter, all my family that's not here. Another big thanks to my fiance, John, who I couldn't do any of this without, and it was so much of an honor this year to be able to travel with him for the last couple days on the trail. And as most of you know, we came in with a rather tight, close finish, and I was really working, trying to pass him, and I could just never quite get away from him. And so coming in when we were both together, we thought we would give Mark Nordman, the race marshal, the opportunity to pick his favorite. Whoever came in first, or if we came in at the same time, Mark could pick who his favorite was to come in ahead. And clearly we all know who that was, so thanks, Mark. Anyway, it was a great race, lots of wonderful gifts within it. Loss as well. I was just so thrilled to have the opportunity to be out there with the dogs. They did a great job this year. We got to be as competitive as we could, and I look really forward to coming back next year. So thanks, all of you.
Now please welcome John Baker, our champion from 2011. This is his 22nd running of the Iditarod. 9 days, 5 hours, and 50 minutes. Brought him to Nome in 18th place. Welcome.
Thank you. I just realized I've been running the race for over 20 years, and the people I need to thank have been sponsoring me for over 20 years. They've been with me the whole time. Northern Air Cargo, Tech, and the people at the Red Dog Mine, and also ASRC. Never wavering for over 20 years, so that's an incredible group of sponsors. It's been kind of a lonely year for me this year, being here in Nome, because the group, my brothers and sisters and family, have been with me constantly and never leaving my side. So I want to be sure and thank them for all the support they've given, not only in mushing, but in life. Of course, the children, Alex, Kahela, Amelia, thank you so much for all the patience. And of course, when you have a spouse, it would be impossible to not have your partner support, so thank you, Catherine. This year we had some special handlers helping us. Pato and Ray Lynn came to Kotzebue in January, and they were an incredible asset to us. And I wanted also to say thank you to them. So
thank you all for being here with us tonight, and thank you for all the support over the years to Nat and to everybody. Thank you.
Getting a look at the starting line. Yes, the starting line, folks, here in Fairbanks. Along with veteran musher Brian Bears, who completed this race back in 2006. I'm Dave Goldman. Happy to have you with us, our entire crew, as we watch Catherine Keith take off. Catherine, a very interesting story. Came up from the Midwest some years ago, got her degree, and then decided that the Iditarod was the way to go. She and John Baker are together now and race and train nearly 50 dogs in Kotzebue. And Catherine is bitten by the bug for sure, and very much into it, and a very skilled and talented musher. And you know, when you're with John Baker, you're certainly going to pick up some things because he's one of the best that's ever lived as well.
Oh, absolutely. Having won the Iditarod, he is one of the best. He's probably going to be the one running the A-team this kennel. But just because he's running the A-team does not mean that Catherine's going to be going slow. She ran the Quest. She was Rookie of the Year in the Iditarod. She's got the skill, and I would see her running a pretty good race here.
Well, you know, Bruce Lee, again, a good friend with the Insider, made the point the other day. They said, you know, he's wondering at what point, like we see with Ali Zirkle and Allen, at what point Catherine starts taking over that A-team and making a run. He thinks that she's the lady who has a chance to win one of these things at some point, especially when you've got that kennel already with John Baker. The pieces are certainly in place. Another one of these guys.
Oh, that was the magic of Lance. I think Lance hooked a line from the lead sled to his lead dogs and had a team of 2 dogs pulling his one sled.
Okay. So it looks like one of those double or triple trailers. You can do double trailers here, you can do triple in Canada, I believe. I've seen that happen out on the Alcan.
People said it looked like a ghost team was being mushed in by Lance.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned before Catherine Keith, and here's the other half of that dynamic duo, and he's one of the fine mushers to ever get on a sled and run dogs. John Baker out of Kotzebue, champion in 2011, so before the Seabees really got going. Well, Mitch has certainly been around for a while, but before Dallas Seavey got into his groove, John Baker had himself a win in 2011. It was a big deal, too, when the Kotzebue native got that victory, too, for many of the smaller communities throughout the state of Alaska. And one of the really respected mushers out there. Sportsmanship last year from Donlin Gold.
Yeah, he's one of those soft-spoken mushers out there, but he is a giant on the trail, both figuratively and really. You look up to this guy. He's a guy who knows the dogs. He knows how to handle himself. And he's very, very well respected out there on the coast.
They'll have on bib number 65 this year for Iditarod number 45 with a wave to the crowd as he heads off into the Fairbanks afternoon. John Baker.
But he will be out of the trail.
Next up, Catherine Keith from Kotzebue. Ran the Yukon Quest. I think we have an interview with Catherine. We do?
Nope. This is a group of dogs that knows the trail. They've ran with John. They've ran with myself. So they're going to be in great shape no matter what trail they go on.
Catherine's one of the toughest people I know. She ran the Yukon Quest this year. She had to scratch because they thought she broke her wrist. So she went to deal with that. But she turned in her food drops for Iditarod anyway, see how it worked out. It's just now they're deciding a super severe sprain. She's running with a brace on, but you know, she's not going to be worried about some little thing stopping Catherine. Kotzebue's a tough place to train. It's cold weather up there, lots of wind. A lot of respect for this lady.
Hands a long way from the heart.
Remember watching her go through some of that open water a couple of years ago, and not a pleasant experience the way it was at that point in the day. It was cold, it was windy. She went through it, few issues with the dogs, and up she went, and that was that. Smile on her face and kept going.
I don't see John Baker down there. I see Andy Baker, but I don't see John. Do you, Bruce?
Not right now, I don't see him.
Yeah.
But he might be driving the truck to pick him up. They're only going to, what's today's run, 12, 14 miles?
Oh, there's John. Isn't that John up there in the front?
Thank you.
In all black? Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
There's-
yeah, there's John. Past Iditarod
He's
champion.
incognito. He's all covered up.
3, 2, 1,
John wouldn't like this weather. It's too warm. Catherine's on the move.
I like that gray leader they've got in that team. It's always, John's always had a really strong gray.
Yeah, the year he won, he had a lot of gray dogs in that team. Good ones.
We're watching her. She's watching us with the GoPro. All right. Little Saturday Night Fever in the morning. Welcoming you if this is your opening with us. Continues Iditarod 2018. Coming right back after this.
John Baker there leading her lead dog.
And welcome back, everybody. Our coverage on GCI Channel 907. Happy to have you with us on this glorious Sunday afternoon from Willow, Alaska.
Good luck to
Dave Goldman
Catherine
along
Keith
with
of
Vern
Ponsonby,
Halter.
Alaska.
The restart back where it should be in Willow as Catherine Keith takes off.
Catherine Keith is going to be somebody to deal with in the Iditarod this year because she's John Baker, her partner's not racing. So I'm sure she's got all of John's dogs plus hers, and she had a good team. And Southern route, perfect route for Catherine Keith. John Baker won on the Southern route in 2011, so
terrific.
I tell you what,
Ironman finisher.
we're talking about Ali Zirko, and we're talking about Jessie Royer and Michelle Phillips and her. That is a strong field of women.
Fearsome foursome right there for sure.
Wouldn't that be a statement if all four were in the top 10? That'd wake everybody up with it.
His sights on running the Iditarod. He started Mad
And even have a champion.
LLC with 2 pregnant females.
Don't see why it couldn't happen. You don't see why it couldn't happen. You never know until you try, do you?
Guy who could pop up. Make a move.
This guy is going to cause trouble. He's, his brothers ran 2 years in a row, but when I mean cause trouble, I mean that in a great sense of the word. He is going to be competitive. He's going to be there. He's probably going to be in the top 5 or top 10. And if he runs a strategic race and doesn't get out there too far, too quick, especially going up the Yukon River up towards Eagle Island.
He says he's been racing his entire life.
Watch out for him. Watch out.
Focused on building
Well, the last 2 years, although it was Noah Burmeister running the dogs, it had Aaron Burmeister's fingerprints all over it.
Exactly, and that's everybody do that.
He says
And
son Hunter is now.
so I think this guy he's out here.
Outdoors and there.
So I think he's out in his mind to win. Now, whether he can, and I'm sure the dogs are ready. I'm sure he's got the quality of dogs. I'm sure he's got the training. Now it's going to be all strategy and how he can really. I think there's something to be said. You almost got to be out there every year. And so that 2-year gap probably hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Aaron's best finish was in 2000.
I'm picking him
in 3rd place.
5th, 6th place.
Yeah. 8 days,
that's how serious I think he is.
47 minutes and 31 seconds.
I picked Nick to win it.
15 seconds, Aaron.
I've got my sentimental favorite of Valley. I want to win.
Every year
Not that I don't want Nick not to win. I just think he set himself up. But I think Aaron's going to cause some.
5, 4,
He's going to be there.
3, 2.
We know Yours going to be there, and we know Mitch is going to be there.
Bib number is 54.
It's tough to win this race 2 years in a row. So we'll see. Aaron Burmeister go by. Bib 64. Good luck, Aaron.
Another rookie from Mahone Bay, Canada.
Another interesting guy.
The thing about Aaron, too, is that he's lost a lot of weight.
He has.
You notice that?
Yes, he has. Yeah, and you wonder if that's going to help their times as well.
At the age of 8, while watching
Bradley Farquhar
Will.
that, and here he is.
And
just look how far he came. So yeah, Sebastian's helping him. Shannuli.
Is the 2011 Iditarod champion. And the first middleweight champion as well. Please welcome Alaska's very own John Baker. On the sled, Holly out there.
So you've been greeting your people all day long, and now you're on John Baker's sled. Tell me the story of why you ended up out here.
I love this. I love this. This is the tradition of Alaska. The inspiration of Alaska is just absolutely, it's phenomenal. What they do, how they lift us up in times of challenging budget times. Here we have 85 teams racing to know. This is absolutely awesome. So I'm here because I get such inspiration from each one of these. Each one of these people give me such inspiration. So there's no place I'd rather be today. This is the spot to be. So it's my honor to be a small part of this.
Elliot Anderson, Ken Anderson, Kristen Bacon, Jody Bailey, John Baker, Patrick Beal, Dag Torolf Olson, Ryan Olson, Miriam Osricar.
And we'll be over there. That's part of the whole program. The next thing I'd like is to have.
There's 85 of us just signed.
Which could be real Alaskan mushing, which is what you do. It's a real treat to be.
First, I'd like to have Joanne Potts take our roll call this year. And Joanne is our honorary musher, so I'm pleased to watch.
Richie Deal, Paige Drobny, Al Ishans, Sigrid Ekron, Matthew Failer.
People talking on microphones a lot and all that sort of thing. Now,
wellness initiative to do what we could throughout the state of Alaska, and what we're pretty much doing is asking, not done too bad. But I never had to talk in front of my peers that are looking at me like, oh, I want to beat you so bad. At some point, we need to start giving back. I feel like we can give back to the communities in a way that helps those.
Seavey, Mitch Seavey, Scott Smith, Sim Smith, Billy Snodgrass.
Today's meeting is largely about clarifying any outstanding rules, things like that, making sure everyone knows what the trail conditions are like. Stu does a great job of talking about vet care and really what those last minute things are that all the mushers should be looking out for. By and large, though, all of these guys are professionals, and so it's a clarifying meeting for them and to pull everything together, and also to make sure everyone gets to where they need to be on time to get this race off and going.
Right there, John.
Hi, what's your bib number?
11. Whoa,
11.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Can you sign right here for me, John? Welcome to Takatna.
Thank you. John, we have to do a bag check here, okay? Right here? Or right here. Let's do it right here, get it out of the way.
Cleared for landing, yeah. I need a new snow hook rope, though. Rope.
You're driving.
Right there, John.
Hi, what's your bib number?
11. Whoa,
11.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Can you sign right here for me, John? Welcome to Takatna.
Thank you. John, we have to do a bag check here, okay? Right here? Or right here. Let's do it right here, get it out of the way.
Cleared for landing, yeah. I need a new snow hook rope, though. Rope.
You're driving. So we're at our annual reception, and this is something the Baker family has hosted year after year. It's the same night every Wednesday here at the Millennium, and it's a great way for us to get to say thank you for all of the people that have supported our teams over the years. It takes so much effort just to get here to the start of this race, and every single person in this room in some way has given us their time and encouragement and support, and even a dinner reception isn't enough to say thank you for just how much everybody's done, but it's something that we can do as a shout out in acknowledgement. So we hope volunteers come, or the veterinarians come, and everybody's invited just as a chance to get to mingle, talk with other mushers, and get some food and some juice and soda, and just to say thank you.
Right here? How's everything?
Good.
You gonna stay or go?
I'm gonna stay.
Okay. We'll bring your stuff down to you. Everything but water, and water's in the choke point here.
What time is it now?
22. It's 10:52. You came in at.
22:52.
Yes.
What time did Mitch come in?
Mitch came in at 21:08. Dallas at 21:24. Dallas
So
stayed.
how far behind Mitch am I?
Mitch went through at 21:20. He left. So you are an hour and a half behind him right now.
Okay. Well, okay.
Ready?
John, what's your bib number?
Number 11.
Thank you.
Do you need to be a backup or anything?
No.
And how far behind Dallas am I?
Dallas is right next to you, and he was in at 21:24. An hour and a half, essentially.
Very nice trip. Beautiful trip with all the activity in the sky and the cold. The dogs are doing good. Best run they've had so far in the race.
Right here? How's everything?
Good.
You gonna stay or go?
I'm gonna stay.
Okay. We'll bring your stuff down to you. Everything but water, and water's in the choke point here.
What time is it now?
22. It's 10:52. You came in at.
22:52.
Yes.
What time did Mitch come in?
Mitch came in at 21:08. Dallas at 21:24. Dallas
So
stayed.
how far behind Mitch am I?
Mitch went through at 21:20. He left. So you are an hour and a half behind him right now.
Okay. Well, okay.
Ready?
John, what's your bib number?
Number 11.
Thank you.
Do you need to be a backup or anything?
No.
And how far behind Dallas am I?
Dallas is right next to you, and he was in at 21:24. An hour and a half, essentially.
Very nice trip. Beautiful trip with all the activity in the sky and the cold. The dogs are doing good. Best run they've had so far in the race. All right, whenever you want.
Alright. Whoa, welcome to McGrath.
What's your bib number?
Number 11. I need to just drop a dog and keep moving.
Okay, sounds good. You got a vet and you want to drop a dog?
Check it. I got 15. Yeah, they're 15 and I need to leave one.
Okay.
7. Yeah, I'll take your book, John. It's, let me see which one that is. That would be Sprocket. Right second one there.
Yeah, he got.
Whereabouts is he? He got in a big fight and he doesn't want to do this.
Where's he going off?
Gotta run quick, Christy!
Get you the sign, John.
Okay. Where? Did that girl go through?
She sure did.
How long ago?
Yeah, let's take a look. About, actually, just right at 32 minutes ago.
I think everything else is in good shape besides that poor dog. He really fell too. Well, everybody, thank you for coming out tonight.
Got it. Good night for a run.
Now it's time to go again.
All right, John.
The same turnoff right up
Yep,
here?
right on the right. You got a guy in front of you. You want him to keep your lead going straight into him.
Alright, if he wants to just run ahead of us and show me where, that would be.
If you just run in front of him, it's okay. All right.
Good luck.
Good luck, John.
Alright, there you go. Good girl. Unbite. Good girl.
Alright, whenever you want.
Alright. Whoa, welcome to McGrath.
What's your bib number?
Number 11. I need to just drop a dog and keep moving.
Okay, sounds good. You got a vet and you want to drop a dog?
Check it. I got 15. Yeah, they're 15 and I need to leave one.
Okay.
7. Yeah, I'll take your book, John. It's, let me see which one that is. That would be Sprocket. Right second one there. Yeah, he got. Whereabouts is he? He got in a big fight and he doesn't want to do this.
Where's he going off?
Gotta run quick, Christy!
Get you the sign, John.
Okay. Where? Did that girl go through?
She sure did.
How long ago?
Yeah, let's take a look. About, actually, just right at 32 minutes ago.
I think everything else is in good shape besides that poor dog. He really fell too. Well, everybody, thank you for coming out tonight.
Got it. Good night for a run.
Now it's time to go again.
All right, John.
The same turnoff right up
Yep,
here?
right on the right. You got a guy in front of you. You want him to Keep your lead going straight into it.
All right. If he wants to just run ahead of us and show me where, that would be.
If you just run in front of him, it's okay. All right.
Good luck.
Good luck, John.
Good luck, John.
Alright, there you go. Good girl. Unbite. Unbite. Good girl. Alright, whenever you want.
Alright. Whoa, welcome to McGrath. What's your bib number?
Number 11. And I need to just drop a dog and keep moving.
Okay, sounds good. You got a vet and you want to drop a dog?
Jacket. I got 15.
Yeah, there's 15 and I need to leave one.
Okay.
7.
Yeah, I'll take your book, John.
It's, let me see which one that is. That would be Sprocket.
Right second one there.
Yeah, he got.
Whereabouts is he?
He got in a big fight and he doesn't want to do this.
Where's he going off?
Gotta run quick, Christy.
Get you the sign, John.
Okay. Where? Did that girl go through?
She sure did.
How long ago?
Yeah, let's take a look. About, actually, just right at 32 minutes ago.
Right. I think everything else is in good shape besides that poor dog. He really fell too. Well, everybody, thank you for coming out tonight.
Got it, got it. Good night for a run.
Now it's time to go again.
All right, John.
The same turnoff right up
Yep,
here?
right on the right. You got a guy in front of you. You want him to keep your lead going straight into it.
Alright, if he wants to just run ahead of us and show me where, that would be.
If you just run in front of him, it's okay. All right.
Good luck.
Good luck, John.
Good luck, John.
Alright, there you go. Good girl. Unbite. Unbite. Good girl. This is the one day of the year when we're able to do something for the fans and the sponsors. And so we're just going to take 12 dogs for 12 miles and just try to have fun with them and let everybody enjoy it today. It's not timed or it's not an event part of the real race yet, so we just have fun. This is the one day of the year when we're able to do something for the fans and the sponsors, and so we're just going to take 12 dogs for 12 miles and just try to have fun with them and let everybody enjoy it today. It's not timed or it's not an event part of the real race yet, so we just have fun.
Okay, the next special award presented has been voted on by the Iditarod Official Finishers Club, and that's the Sportsmanship Award. The winner will receive a check from Donald Gold and a plaque. Here to present the award, please welcome Kurt Parkin from Donald Gold.
Thank you. Before I mention who has won the Sportsmanship Award, I just wanted to let the mushers know that last year we sort of started a tradition. My colleague Dan Halstead and myself were trying to meet every musher as he came through the World Archers. And so in your envelopes tonight, there'll be a little flash drive of photos of you at the start and as you came through in Nome. Unfortunately, you and a couple others slept through your your arrival. It seemed like this year, coming from safety, was a lot quicker than it normally is. And so we kind of missed some of you. I apologize for that. But for the rest of you, there are some photos there. The Sportsmanship Award has been awarded since 1977 by various sponsors of the race, and Donald Gold is proud to be able to present the award for a second time. As was mentioned, the Sponsorship Award is determined by the Iditarod Official Finishers Club. And in addition to the respect of his or her peers, this award comes with a check in the amount of $3,500. I feel kind of bad that there's all these gold nuggets being given out to people. We don't have gold to give, but maybe in a couple of years when we're actually operating, we'll be able to provide some gold to the winner. When considering nominations for the Sportsmanship Award, Iditarod mushers often make nominations based on one musher's actions to help their fellow competitors. This is one of the most celebrated traditions in the Iditarod. This year's recipient continued that tradition as he helped numerous mushers through various tough situations. He also continues to serve as a role model for both veteran and rookie mushers alike. It's my pleasure to announce that the Iditarod Official Finishers Club has chosen as the recipient of the Donald Gold Sportsmanship Award, Mr. Baker. That's John Baker. There was a trophy that I guess Alaska Airlines is going to bring it soon.
I didn't expect that. Kurt was just telling me that the mushers voted for me to be the best sportsman. That doesn't happen very often because there's nobody in this room wants to beat down better than me. I'm the worst sportsman. Where is that kid anyway? I'm still mad at him for beating me again. But I know when they nominated me, it was because one of the guys, Pete, was stopped on the trail and needing help, right? And he's saying, stop, stop, stop. Heck, the only reason I stopped you was blocking the trailer, else I kept going. Anyway, all of you people that I have the opportunity to race with and be a part of the race with, I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to racing with all of you in the future. Thank you.
The stroganoff is really good. Beef stroganoff, caribou stroganoff. That's one of my favorites.
Who I made it for you? The wife?
My wife. She's a good cook.
Hey.
Yeah, film that and put it on so Margaret can see that we're enjoying her food. She will appreciate it. Tell Margaret how good her food is, John.
Really good.
What are you eating?
Chicken dumplings and enchiladas.
You see his hands? He's a hard worker. He works hard. You know what he does? No. He's a dentist.
I need one of the meat. It was a hard leg. All my teeth has gone on the race now.
Yeah?
Off.
You broke your tooth?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Huh?
How'd you do that?
Aaron's food.
Don't put your head in his mouth. Oh boy. You need to get that out of there.
It's Aaron's food.
You need to get it out.
Yeah,
There's still pieces of it up there. You gotta get it out of there.
You can use this? Can you do it here?
No.
Can you use the
I can, but he won't like me.
Maybe he's a hypnotic.
I need a screwdriver and a pliers, but you're not gonna be happy about it.
No, I don't think.
But that's gonna.
But I know pain now.
Eventually, that's gonna.
I had to take it. I'm thinking about to go to a dentist on the
If
table.
it starts hurting, take amoxicillin. 500 milligrams twice a day.
Amoxicillin.
Yeah, it has some problem. But there's no problem yet.
Yeah.
Being a dentist, I'm curious. Do your clients ever think about where your hands have been?
I know, that's why I
Well, I only see kids.
Oh, great. Put your hands.
But I always, I wear gloves, but I don't think they love it. They always ask me about the dogs and mushing, and they love it.
I picture his big hands and some little tiny.
Well, my hands
mouths.
don't go hardly ever go in mouths. Only the instruments go in there. You know. See, it's good I have big hands because I just had to put my finger.
I'm gonna
get good reach in there.
Do you have Iditarod stuff all over your office?
Not really. No. Yeah. I've just started going out to Shishmaruk, close to your neighborhood.
90 miles from me.
Mm-hmm. I just started going out there this couple months ago. I'm trying to go out there a couple times.
And
maybe I'll come visit you in Kotzebue.
So today, we do toast you from your lakefront family for a safe journey. We toast that your dogs are safe and speedy and strong. But please join me in raising your glass today as in a toast of gratitude. Let's be grateful for each other, grateful for our strength, and grateful for the great last race. In gratitude.
Just before Jeff starts snapping some pictures, the whole key to this thing with this size of the field is to make sure.
It's a place I've always wanted to come and run, and just never have. And the trail looks beautiful, so we're here.
It is kind of cool. This is where the very first race started, right? You think about that at all, John?
Yeah. I was looking forward to this.
How many miles do your dogs have on them? And why do you still need to run them right up to race day like this, or are you just out to have some fun?
Well, I'd like to try out new equipment and just kind of let the dogs get out of the boxes. They're not used to being in the box so much, and just have a little fun, yeah. The thing that's interesting about what Martin did was that he undoubtedly is one of the best mushers there is. So for him to do that is what makes it special. I'm not concerned with whoever wants to do that is fine. It's not something that I can do or would do just because of myself and my team doesn't fit that. Is it the right thing to do, or is it a good thing? Is it any of that? I don't know that, but Martin is one of the best. So if he thinks he can make that work, then more power to him.
I think it's a game changer.
He changed the race tremendously, and interestingly, he didn't speed the race up, but he changed the way people ran it, and it gave him an advantage. And it changed the way the race was run after he was not racing it anymore. His style didn't improve the times, but it gave him an advantage, and that's a really, really interesting concept that he was able to do that.
And JBaker, two former champions who know how to get there first.
Being the Iditarod champion for that first year gives you a lot of responsibility that you have to live up to and work hard to try to carry the race. I didn't feel that I would run the race once I had won it, but turns out that it's a lifestyle that I like, and I enjoy the people involved at the race. I enjoy the dogs, so I'm going to continue doing this as long as I can be successful at it.
You never go into the
Lots of help, lots of friends, but two of our sisters are here. I'm Andy, and there's a whole bunch of us. We've got...
Along the way, JBaker became one of the very, very good... best, and good luck, and thank you. Being ready to learn means they're ready for kindergarten. Are being made available all over Alaska. This The Alaska Native Heritage Center was opened in 1999 as
Lots of help, lots of friends, but two of our sisters are here. I'm Andy, and there's a whole bunch of us. We've got...
along the way, JBaker became one of the very, very good... Best and good luck and thank you. Being ready to learn means they're ready for kindergarten. Are being made available all over Alaska. This
The Alaska Native Heritage Center was opened in 1999 as
Welcome to the Iditarod Daily Show. We're live from Anchorage at the Lakefront Hotel. The Iditarod has many points of symbolism, and we're going to talk about some of the great program that's going to be done on the Iditarod Trail this year. I've got with me John Baker, the Iditarod champ from Kotzebue, Alaska, and Catherine Keith, who's also running the Iditarod this year. So tell me about your program, ACT. I want to know all about it. What's going on? How have you started this thing rolling?
Well, we started the program actually right before the Alaska Federation of Natives met. We were in conjunction with the governor and the congressional delegation, an initiative to promote wellness throughout Alaska and what we could do and what the people themselves could do for wellness in Alaska. And from there, we went on to consider Act on the Trail, Act on the Iditarod Trail. So we're looking forward to involving all of the communities.
So, John, we talked about this earlier. How did you get the idea? How did you decide you wanted to launch such an ambitious program?
Well, of course, growing up in Kotzebue, in a small town where everybody is close, you know there's issues, and so you know that the ideas have to come from within the communities being the areas of workplaces, the communities being the areas of small towns, neighborhoods. So you know that they have to come up with ideas, we have to come up with ideas that make all of us better, that help each other. So I just thought that we, as the Iditarod, owed to the communities to give back to the communities, and I thought what better way than to encourage them to come up with wellness ideas.
So you came up with this notion of awareness, self-awareness. So Catherine, what's the nuts and bolts? How did you get the organization started? How did you get the governor's support?
Well, we didn't have to work too hard to get Governor Walker's support because he was really the driving force behind it. We just wanted to really help support him and be a voice to help carry this message out that as Alaskans, we really want to be empowered to really make a difference in our own lives and then in the lives of our community. And being dog mushers in the Iditarod, we do sort of have this responsibility to the communities that we go through and to the students and young people all throughout the state that they're looking to us as examples and role models. So
there's approximately 18 villages alone just along the Iditarod Trail. So what's going to happen? What's going to be going on with your organization during the race?
So Act on the Trail is doing a couple things. The first thing that's really exciting is that we've been fundraising. We want to be able to give up to $5,000 per community along the trail that's able to meet the criteria. And in order to do that, they need to form a youth leader program, a youth council, or a wellness coalition. And when they form these 3 groups, they're going to fill out an action plan for what they want to do to make a difference in their community, and then take some kind of action. When they do these things by April 30th, they'll be eligible to receive their incentive awards, which can go back for any kind of wellness activity that they want.
So give me some examples. So there's physical, emotional, medical awareness. So what are your ideas? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think communities are going to do?
We have lists and lists and workbooks of all these great ideas for what the communities want to do. And we've partnered with ANTHC, who has fantastic programs, whether it's for tobacco cessation or general wellness, healthy communities. What we want communities to do is to be able to go to ANTHC, talk to them, and then help implement things in the community. So it could be anything like a mentoring program, it could be a talking circle, it could be something about a walking club. It really has to do with what the community wants. Some communities are being pretty optimistic, and they really want to address having safe houses in their community, or they want to help with a homeless situation. So there's a lot of different goals that communities have that they want to work on, and we really just leave it up to the community because they know what's best for their community, and we just are providing support. So when you go to our website, which is AlaskansChangingTogether.org, you can download a personal wellness plan, because we have about 10 or 12 different aspects of wellness, and really for within ourselves and within the community, you can really address any of these things. And so once communities kind of go through this, they get their incentive award, the next thing that they can do is compete for a $35,000 prize. And this is a statewide competition, so you don't have to be along the Iditarod Trail.
Amazing. Now, I know you explained your program today at the musher meeting, and there's a lot of mushers that said, count me in. I remember Hugh Neff said, I'm in. What do I need to do? So tell us how others can get involved in this project.
Great. Yeah. For the mushers, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have bandanas on the dogs' necks with the logos, and we're asking mushers tonight at the banquet to go take a selfie in front of a little form that we'll have them fill out with their wellness tip, just kind of things to learn about how mushers take care of themselves, in addition to taking care of the dogs. And we're also looking for mushers to be spokesmen, to really help us get the word out there and help encourage the communities to participate in the event.
You want to add anything, John?
Well, I think there's a lot of stories that each community has of where people can highlight, and where people can give their story to make everybody better. And I think there's no better story than your own to share at some point also.
Well, thank you. I had cardiac surgery, and I had lymphoma cancer, all in the space of about 6 months. And I can say that if it wasn't for the supportive community and my family, it would have been very difficult. So I think your program is spot on. It hits on that our own health is our responsibility, our own well-being, but we're also responsible for our neighbors and our family. So I think your program has so many great intentions. I think it's going to be a great philosophical viewpoint.
Yeah, and I think that's really what we're trying to do here, is reframe some of the challenges, because so often we go through in our own lives and we see our family and friends dealing with suicide or domestic violence or substance abuse, struggling with alcoholism, and we want to help so much, and you try to help, but then at the end of the day, it's the individual that's going to have to step up and say, I'm ready to do something different. But what this whole campaign is about is really having a positive, solution-oriented options.
So viewers in villages other than the ones on the Iditarod Trail, they're not going to be contacted directly by your representatives. What can they do? How do they get involved?
Yep, they should go to our website and then look at the Hero X Prize, because that is a statewide competition, and it's focused on creative and innovative, collaborative ways to develop positive protective factors within your community. And there's information about what those are and for what age groups, and you can get all the information you want at that website. But sign up, because it doesn't have to be anything that's so amazing or super involved or require a lot of money. It's really just connecting the dots with people in your community and doing something and working together as a team. And that's the biggest thing we do as mushers out there on the Iditarod, is get our dogs together as a team, moving in the same direction, and eventually, with luck, we make it to Nome.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun because in a way you're running your own think tank, and the ideas and the innovations and the insights can be quite remarkable.
Yep, and that's what we're hoping at the end of this. By April 30th, we'll have throughout the state all of these amazing solutions that people have found for their community that are making a difference. And we're writing up these success stories. So on the trail, we're going to have both videographers and journalists out there capturing some of these champions along the trail in the community. So if you know anybody in a community, we would love to hear about it. And the contact information is on the website.
So you're well organized. I see you have the logos and everything.
Yeah.
So how long, just as backup, how long have you been working on the project?
October.
Wow. And you put it together this quickly.
Yeah, and we've had a great team, and again, it kind of takes a team to make things happen, but
yeah. Well, I can say just from my own observation that it's contagious, because already you have a big number of mushers engaged with the project, and they're going to go on the trail and do as well as they can to promote the idea.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate that you had the time to come in. I know you're busy for the race start. John, Catherine, thanks again.
Thanks.
This is The Daily Show. Check us out. We're updating constantly.
Here he comes. He's in the chute. John Baker.
We're fortunate to have a trail to race on this year. The group of people that put the race together did a good job. It just wasn't the type of trail that was good for my team. So I have to be happy with that. I'm glad for people that had teams that were good at this type of trail, but mine just wasn't. That's okay. It'll be better next time.
Now you have another team that's still out there, Catherine Keith. She's having a great race and she's enjoying the trail this year. Talk about your thoughts of her in her very first Iditarod.
Well, I'm sure she'll do fine, and the dogs will come through it better for it, and next year be a real important part of the main team. The dog team was probably the best dog team that I ever had, and they tried to do everything they could, and I tried to do everything I could, and we just never came together, and we're never able to really get anywhere. And I was watching a dog team come up behind me, and I thought it was ironic to get knocked out of the 20th top 20 by my good buddy Ramey. He definitely owed me one, so I kind of got a chuckle this morning. He and I both did. We stopped and traded a few words. But the race went. We just couldn't. It was one of those deals. The harder you worked, the farther behind you got. It was not our year, I guess.
You know, I never expected that to happen, but she had a really nice team, and we actually ended up traveling together since Koyak. 2 runs. 2 extremely long runs, and her team held up really well. So it kind of just worked out that way.
Oh, it was awesome. It was so much fun. And I learned a lot also. You know, John, being a champion, having done this so many years, there's a lot that he knows. And the only way you can learn is kind of by watching and mimicking and being out there. So it was really fun getting to go through some storms with him and climbing the hills over here just to see his way of doing it, and so I can kind of take that and integrate it with my own. So it's just fun being out there. We're doing what we love, and it just worked out. We could spend a couple of days on the trail doing it together, so that part was really worthwhile. Well, it'll be tricky now because what I was thinking was the loser had to plan the wedding, and so now I don't know who will plan it. So now it might be postponed another year. Okay. Yeah.
Good to see everybody here. It's a wonderful welcome today. Thank you, everybody that's here. I know it's late and cold.
How about the dancers, huh?
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Donald likes the snow.
Yeah, he likes the snow, doesn't he?
11 of them are back. And 5 of them are young dogs out of the main team. It should be a super solid team. They may not do that many things good, they may not look that flashy, but oh man, when I ask them to get up and when I ask them to travel and when I ask them to do the few things that they do good, they're really good. 11 of them are back. And 5 of them are young dogs out of the main team. It should be a super solid team. They may not do that many things good, they may not look that flashy, but oh man, when I ask them to get up and when I ask them to travel and when I ask them to do the few things that they do good, they're really good.
Tonight is just a kickoff for John that we've done annually for seems like the last 12 or 14 years. And when John got started, he realized there's so many people from all over that do so much to help the race itself. Instead of it being about him, he was hoping that we could make a night for the volunteers and for other mushers and sponsors and just kind of make it a fun night that gives everybody something special to kick off the week. This reception, I think we've probably, I'd say 13 or 14 years straight. Yeah.
My gosh. Yeah. Have you seen the team run yet? You think it's a championship caliber team?
I think it is. Yep, it's looking good, and we've had not too much snow, but lots of cold weather. All the things of the Arctic we've had them this year, so I think it'll be a good year.
All right, go ahead, up. All right, up. All right, up. Hey, ready?
Come on, you guys. Come on.
Rico. Up.
Right there is good, John. How you doing? Welcome to Cripple.
See nothing with all the lights, huh? Maybe
Yeah.
enough the camera.
How many dogs you got? You got any in here?
I have some back there.
Okay.
I have 2 in there.
14?
Of 14, yeah.
Okay. Would you like to declare your 24?
Yeah.
Right up here.
Lots of teams here, huh?
3.
3. You're number 4.
Come on. Up. Up. Rachel, up. Right there. Up. 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 Up.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We're going to be talking a lot tonight about the ACT initiative that the governor and the congressional delegation and myself moved forward this year, and what it's going to be doing as ACT on the Trail. The person that pushed it and made sure that this ACT pushing for wellness throughout our state and asking for communities to come up with ideas and anything that could make their communities better by doing it themselves and not asking for any help, but actually doing things all by themselves. This person is also going to be, the Iditarod requires us to have somebody on the back of our sleds to, in case something goes wrong, to take care of all of us, right? So who better but the governor of the state of Alaska to ride on back of the sled? My friend, Bill Walker. And we have something for our wonderful team members.
Perfect.
Me too?
Wow. Wow.
I'm not sure about the sizes. I didn't get to look at them, but I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome somebody really special to the state of Alaska and ask him to say hello to all of you while he's here. He's rushing to catch an airplane, and I told him, don't worry. You don't have to rush. You're the governor. You can take your time. And he whispered in my ear, I'm going on Alaska Airlines. Thank you.
Well, John, this is really an honor to be part of this, to be able to say a few words. We have obviously followed your successes back from, those that don't know, that my father and John's father met on the Alaska steamship coming up to Alaska in the 40s, and they were friends ever since. And so that connected the Baker and the Walker family in many different ways, and so we've been enjoying watching your successes and your whole family's successes over the years, and so it's just so great to be here, to be just a smidgen part of this great day for you as you begin yet another race. And thank you for all you've done for the young people in Alaska, the wellness program you've done, the ACT program you've done, the ACT. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very much, and I really wish we could stay for more of the evening, but. Alaska Airlines does not wait for the governor, and so we've discovered that a few times. So so we're going to take off. But thank you very much, and I'll see you on Saturday.
I hope you don't mind. I like to pray in Inupiaq. So many times I have seen my peers be asked to say a prayer, and what happens is that they pray in Inupiaq and then they go back and translate it into English, because when we speak Inupiaq, it's from the heart, and English is, acquired language. For those of us who have spoken Inupiaq as a first language, we do that. So I'll just speak. We'll ask for blessing for the food, safe travel, safe mushing, everything good, okay? All right, let's pray. Hagayun, God in heaven. Kati yuminahuta anakawag kagayun ubunga. Ta nakona gibluta ta napisuklermik immehuta ilo ruklermik immehuta. Suli hagayun iglilota kubluich tamatko Una ko rakdot agayun inuich biyaku de lagun kemingich naka ilingit naka dingmirot naka konak sirot agayun ilokesa ilbich konak iluich biyaku de silang nekich agayun ta na iglok pora katakpata Ubagut suli tema ta nakinik dak doni hagayun ingek su rilu ta hataramik tap kuninga electronic kuya giptigin katiyo minyang lokapta Lord we ask blessings for all the people here in Jesus name we pray amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, let's enjoy the food, and we'll get lots of time to visit as the evening goes on. I'm sure if anybody knows my brother Andy, he'll have lots to say. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Come on, Baker! Way to go, Baker!
How far behind am I?
Oh, they're just getting ready to leave. They're out here.
Let's see.
They're just getting ready to
Dallas
leave.
was in at 3:17, Allie at 4:53, Aaron at 6:43. And you're the fourth.
I grew up listening to your speeches up north. It's always good to see you here. He's behind me. Yep.
Dallas 3:17, Allie at 4:53.
I don't know where the time goes.
Okay. Let me give you a hug.
Oh.
Welcome.
Are you parking or are you going through?
Come on, Baker! Way to go, Baker!
How far behind am I?
Oh, they're just getting ready to leave. They're out here.
Let's see.
They're just getting ready to
Dallas
leave.
was in at 3:17, Allie at 4:53, Aaron at 6:43. And you're the fourth.
I grew up listening to your speeches up north. It's always good to see you here. He's behind me. Yep.
Dallas 3:17, Allie at 4:53.
I don't know where the time goes.
Okay. Let me give you a hug.
Oh.
Welcome.
Are you parking or are you going through?
Come on, Baker! Way to go, Baker!
How far behind am I?
Oh, they're just getting ready to leave. They're out here.
Let's see.
They're just getting ready to
Dallas
leave.
was in at 3:17, Allie at 4:53, Aaron at 6:43. And you're the fourth.
I grew up listening to your speeches up north. It's always good to see you here. He's behind me. Yep.
Dallas 3:17, Allie at 4:53.
I don't know where the time goes.
Okay. We'll give you a hug. Welcome.
Are you parking or are you going through?
Well, the Baker family's been real committed to and involved with the Iditarod for a lot of years, even before John started running as a musher. So this is our way of acknowledging all of the volunteers and those that put on the race. It's our way of kind of celebrating the race, kicking it off, like Iditarod 2014, and coming together and just celebrating the start of the race. Well, the Iditarod kind of embodies the effort that it takes from everybody to do something of this magnitude, and it's similar with our community, our family, the culture we come from, the Inupiaq culture. So the working together, pulling together to do something, just supporting John and getting him ready to be here this weekend. It takes a lot of folks, and so it's true with the race, acknowledging all of the people that come together to put the race on.
So you run over, are you happy with it?
Well, I have no choice. I expected it to be quicker than it was, but it's just one of those runs where little things kept coming up and a little bit longer, so we're okay. We'll be fine.
People keep asking me if I think your team looks better than yours was last year. I said, I don't know, he's moving so much I don't see him that much. Do you think they're as good or better than last year's at this point in the race?
I haven't ever had a team this good at this point to the race. Normally the team, as you could expect, is really run down and not used to this type of trail conditions and having a tough time, where this team seems to be putting up with everything and doing okay. So I'm real happy with this team.
So you run over, are you happy with it?
Well, I have no choice. I expected it to be quicker than it was, but it's just one of those runs where little things kept coming up and a little bit longer, so we're okay. We'll be fine.
People keep asking me if I think your team looks better than yours was last year. I said, I don't know, he's moving so much I don't see him that much. Do you think they're as good or better than last year's at this point in the race?
I haven't ever had a team this good at this point to the race. Normally the team, as you could expect, is really run down and not used to this type of trail conditions and having a tough time, where this team seems to be putting up with everything and doing okay. So I'm real happy with this team.
I guess if the wind picks up like it's supposed to, and they get there to Iditarod before any of that weather, it could make a big difference. I mean, if you're battling 30-mile-an-hour winds across that trail that's already not much of a trail, and it's drifted in, and they get a decent trail over there, it could be a game changer. But we're also not sure exactly what's going to happen with the weather, because the forecast isn't always right. But I don't know, we'll see. You know, sometimes stopping in Takotna and then going on is the right thing to do, and sometimes going farther is the right thing to do. It's kind of an unknown, and I think this year, I think the reason a lot of teams are going this year is because the trail's been so good. But now there's this weather factor that could shake things up even more.
So in your mind, what's the bigger factor, wind or 3 to 4 inches of snow?
If it was 3 to 4 inches of snow on top of a good base, that's not that big of a deal. But if it's 3 or 4 inches of snow on top of a trail that's already busted up and you're punching down through even more, that could make for a really tough run. But you know, wind isn't a big deal if it's not drifting and stuff like that. But if it's drifting the trail in, then it's a big deal.
Well, they'll be able to leave their rested teams, obviously, and there is a chance that the teams behind them won't have much of a trail. they're running their own teams. That's what they figure is best. And a lot of people in this race are not being that conservative, surprisingly. Are really going for it, which is really good to see. So there's a lot of really strong teams out there going after it. We'll all go to Iditarod with a couple of teams going all the way over there, no matter what the conditions are, even if it's a 14-hour run, whatever. And that'll be fine enough. And then those teams will take 4 or 5 hour break and do the same thing to go to Anvik. Now you'll see then, right then. Even the teams that went on to Iditarod, we'll see how they do getting to Anvik. That's the run that'll show, and then they'll put 2 more after that. 2 more runs, just the same type of runs, and short breaks. So we got to get as rested as we could right now.
All right. Welcome to unit, please. $728, $819, $830. Allie came in at $728. Yeah. Dallas at $819 and Aaron at $830.
What time is it now?
9:09. I think you turn your clock.
You got to turn your watch up 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to probably stay for about 12 hours. I'm going to have to do right by the dogs a little bit.
Oh, there's hay right there.
Where do you want me to park them? Right here?
And there's hot water right there.
Right here.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Unless you're leaving.
No.
Yeah, your bags are right there.
Oh,
right
thank
there.
you.
And there's hot water over there now.
Well, just go ahead and listen to them while they're standing there, huh, John?
All right. Welcome to unit, please. $728, $819, $830. Allie came in at $728. Yeah. Dallas at $819 and Aaron at $830.
What time is it now?
9:09.
I think you turn your clock.
You got to turn your watch up 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to probably stay for about 12 hours. I'm going to have to do right by the dogs a little bit.
Oh, there's hay right there.
Where do you want me to park them? Right here?
And there's hot water right there.
Right here.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Unless you're leaving.
No.
Yeah, your bags are right there.
Oh,
right
thank
there.
you.
And there's hot water over there now.
Well, just go ahead and listen to them while they're standing there, huh, John?
Hey, welcome to Ruslia.
Oh, thank you.
And we counted 15 dogs, were we correct?
Yeah.
Number of dogs. Are we correct?
My number is 65. Good morning, Tom. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend?
Oh, good.
Okay. John, we have to do a gear check here.
You want to do it here, or you want to?
Yes, we'd love to do it here real quick.
We're ready.
What do you think? What's the race going to go? How's it going to go this year, you think?
The real steady teams are going to be successful this year.
I think it's all about just steady.
Yep. Long and steady.
Any extra precautions today going out of Anchorage with these conditions?
Yeah, they're probably the worst conditions we've ever had to go on, so they're going to be slippery, and we're going to have to really have control all the time for sure.
Who's your competition this year? Because you're always the steady guy, just building as you go.
Boy, this year has been so different, I'm not sure. I guess I haven't really paid that much attention to other teams being at Kotzebue.
All right. Hip. All right. Up. All right. Up.
He's probably cruising into Rome right now, knowing we're standing around here
Laughing at
saying the exact same words. What? Huh? What?
Seems like it's fun, but it generally doesn't seem like it works out. What is he thinking?
Watch it work, and we're all going to have to do it every year from now on.
No.
Are you guys talking about Martin?
Yeah. Oh, Martin. Give him credit. I don't want to. What would that be? He'll show up there at. So he left Rainey at 5. He'll be in Roan at 9.
I don't know.
So that's a. Into Roan at 9 in the morning. So that's 19 hours straight run. Right off the get-go.
130? Wow.
Does he not remember what happened?
Wait, stop. So I get them straight, so I can
Every other time he's ever done that?
Just wait. I'll turn the G.
Yeah, if you gave these guys, for people that don't understand this, you gave them cold water. They drink cold water better than hot water sometimes.
Oh, for sure. It's warm. This is warm for them, and I thought if they drank any clear water, it would be cold water. But yeah, in fact, they haven't wanted their food warm. This, above 20 degrees, it's hot for them, and they would just soon their food be cold.
I have no idea what Boozer's doing. I have yet to look at a single stat on this race other than, well, I haven't looked at anything.
Yeah. I heard he was all close to Roan or in Roan.
Close to it, yeah.
He's not there yet.
I don't think so.
Pretty incredible, all right. I don't have any idea what he's got planned.
Does it make sense strategically to you is it anything you've ever thought of doing?
I haven't. It wouldn't work well for me, but for him it must be a good plan. He would know. He's got a lot more experience than the rest of us, so he knows what he's doing, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
You think he'll stop there? Is there any chance that he goes beyond Rome?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
He can't, right?
Well, he would have to carry a big load of food if he did at this point, so I wouldn't expect that he would. No, I wouldn't expect that he would.
Yeah. Are you still on your schedule?
Oh yeah.
That heat bother you yesterday?
No, not too bad.
No. So you're right where you want to be.
Yeah, we're doing fine. Traveling a little bit slower than we want, but we're okay. Maybe by a half an hour or something, you know.
Yeah.
I guess if the wind picks up like it's supposed to, and they get there to Iditarod before any of that weather, it could make a big difference. I mean, if you're battling 30-mile-an-hour winds across that trail that's already not much of a trail, and it's drifted in, and they get a decent trail over there, it could be a game changer. But we're also not sure exactly what's going to happen with the weather, because the forecast isn't always right. But I don't know, we'll see. You know, sometimes stopping in Takotna and then going on is the right thing to do, and sometimes going farther is the right thing to do. It's kind of an unknown, and I think this year, I think the reason a lot of teams are going this year is because the trail's been so good. But now there's this weather factor that could shake things up even more.
So in your mind, what's the bigger factor, wind or 3 to 4 inches of snow?
If it was 3 to 4 inches of snow on top of a good base, that's not that big of a deal. But if it's 3 or 4 inches of snow on top of a trail that's already busted up and you're punching down through even more, that could make for a really tough run. But you know, wind isn't a big deal if it's not drifting and stuff like that. But if it's drifting the trail in, then it's a big deal.
Well, they'll be able to leave there with rested teams, obviously. And there is a chance that the teams behind them won't have much of a trail. They're running their own teams. That's what they figure is best. And a lot of people in this race are not being that conservative, surprisingly. Are really going for it, which is really good to see. So there's a lot of really strong teams out there going after it. We'll all go to Iditarod with a couple of teams going all the way over there, no matter what the conditions are, even if it's a 14-hour run, whatever. And that'll be fine enough, and then those teams will take 4 or 5 hour break and do the same thing to go to Anvik. Now you'll see then, right then. Even the teams that went on to Iditarod, we'll see how they do getting to Anvik. That's the run that'll show, and then they'll put 2 more after that. 2 more runs, just the same type of runs, and short breaks. So we got to get as rested as we could right now. I've known him for a long, long time. He's an extremely respectful young person to me, and he's, over the years when he's had questions, he's been willing to come to me and talk to me and ask for advice, and he's worked as hard as anybody's ever worked to win the race. Although he's young, he's put in the dues, and I'm extremely proud of him.
All right, so it's time to hit the trail, man. How you feeling?
Good.
What's your anticipation for the trail coming ahead?
Well, I think the first couple runs will be extremely slow, from what it sounds like. The type of trail that we've seen the last few runs. And then when we get to Ruby, I think the trail will be much better, pick up. Some sense, and I'm hoping.
Compared to last year, how do you assess your team this year?
I think it's probably pretty similar. Although I've been thinking about that. We'll see how this next 2 runs goes, but that team last year got stronger from this point forward, as I'm hoping that this team will. So if that's the case, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Sounds like your spirits are high. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel really good.
Alright, so it's time to hit the trail, man. How you feeling?
Good.
What's your anticipation for the trail coming ahead?
Well, I think the first couple runs will be extremely slow from what it sounds like. The type of trail that we've seen the last few runs. And then when we get to Ruby, I think the trail will be much better. Pick up. Some sense, and I'm hoping.
Compared to last year, how do you assess your team this year?
I think it's probably pretty similar. Although I've been thinking about that. We'll see how this next two runs goes, but that team last year got stronger from this point forward, as I'm hoping that this team will. So if that's the case, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Sounds like your spirits are high. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel really good. The team of dogs is really an excellent team. The mushers definitely had some things going on that didn't work, so I was probably the weakest point of the whole team. That and the equipment, just little things that just nicked and bugged the team along the way. Otherwise, the dogs themselves were great. I should have been able to figure that out the first 5 minutes out on the trail. Instead, it took me till this morning to figure out the problem. So, it is what it is, and it worked just how it worked, but it's all, even after 20 years, you know, you make dumb mistakes, and you're going to do that if you're going to get better.
123 miles in it. You've been here, I don't know, what, 50 times now? What'd you learn about your team in those 123 miles, John?
They definitely are traveling fine. They're definitely having other problems, which is kind of common for this stage of the race, but we can't tell much yet. We'll see tomorrow how things are shaping up.
And next 24 hours, you've got the steps, the pass, the gorge, things that make the Iditarod the Iditarod. Is it exciting for a musher who's been here so many times still?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting to try to get it done with, you know?
Yeah.
I guess I've been through this 16 times before, so not that much has changed for me. We're doing the same thing and trying to keep regimented as possible. And as far as the preparations and getting ready, there hasn't been any change. We've got 11 of the dogs from last year back, 5 younger dogs, and the younger dogs are eager and they bring some really different characteristics to our team that I'm enjoying. Can't wait to go out and see how they do. I felt they came in really good. I think anytime you can come to McGrath in under 6 hours, it's a really good time.
Is there something that stood out to you as far as the trail conditions went on the trip over?
Well,
bad, hard, fast?
Real nice trail compared to what we've been through. It's been real rough before here, so it was really a pleasure.
And for folks at home that have really no clue why you're stopping for a couple hours here, can you give them a sense of why you stopped before maybe Takatna?
I guess for me, I'm going to go from here pretty directly to Cripple. So I wanted to rest here before I did that.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
24 hours.
Yeah. Any strategy behind going to Cripple? Just less people, more rest for the dogs?
Well, I think it just fits the schedule that I've been running more than than to Katna or somewhere else.
So everybody following you is going to want to know how your run was over here. So how was that run?
You know, it was a really good trail. Real long. It's always longer than you expect. But we had a couple of dogs tired that needed to ride the whole way. Other than that, it was really good.
How do you kind of look at this? From Jeff going to Ruby and others clear back in McGrath and you here?
For myself, I don't want to stop if my dogs aren't doing good. Because when I start up, they're still going to be cranky and doing what they were doing. So I want to get them to a spot where they're feeling good about themselves and doing good and then stop. So that's why I stopped here.
What does JBaker think about while he's out here?
Well, I think about a lot of things, but I always try to come back to what it is I'm trying to accomplish, you know. And I'm trying to get to know him right now, so I try to think far enough down the road what's going to get me there the quickest point. And then you always can't help with so much time on your hands to be reflecting on how things have gone the last few weeks and months and what you can do to make it better.
What do you like most about running the Iditarod or being out on the trail, let's say?
For myself, just time like this, time alone with the dogs and watching the dogs get better. Just being out here on the trail. Even if it gets tough, the tougher it gets, the more fun that you have to kind of just smile at yourself and say, this is what it's all about. That's what I like.
3, 2, 1, go!
The team this year is going to be a pretty youthful team. I think it'll consist of 2- and 3-year-olds.
And Velvet and Snickers, where are they at in this whole cycle?
Velvet and Snickers, I don't think that they're going to have to come this year, but they're doing better than they've ever done. Well, in Kotzebue, until the 21st of January, you're normally measuring snow in fractions of inches. So if we have a ½ an inch by the 15th of December, we're doing good here.
Okay. We see Kotzebue behind you, John.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's home, isn't it?
This is home, yep.
Yeah, be prideful about it for a moment.
Oh yeah, Kotzebue. I haven't spent more than 2 weeks in a row out of Kotzebue my whole life. This is where I'm going to be the rest of my life. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of pride. Kotzebue has made me what I am and certainly made a lot of people into a lot of good things.
How many won a couple years ago? How many are still on the team?
10. 9 or 10.
So you're going into this very confident. Tell me about the dog team.
Oh, they're the best shape that I've ever had a team as far as their weight is good and they're healthy. So I feel good about everything.
How many is this for you now? Like 18 I get around?
17 or 18.
So does this still get you riled up at all? And
oh yeah.
Get you excited?
Oh yeah. No doubt we're excited. With a team like this, if everything goes right, you know. Yeah. The dogs are just getting ready to start training. We'll run them on a sled in the tundra when we start. But up to now, they've just been sitting.
What do you guys do? You as a musher or the mushers, you know, do you do any kind of workout or anything like that?
I haven't been, but obviously I'm going to have to start real soon too.
Yeah.
Start walking or running or jogging or doing something soon.
Is it getting to be more athletic for you guys as well?
For me, it is. As I get older, I'm getting heavier, so I just need to keep the weight down.
Yeah. Today, with all the volunteers that are here, you talked about it this morning, I heard, but can you share a little bit more about how important the volunteers are to the race and to you guys?
Well, not only do they give all the time and effort to make the race possible, but if I had the opportunity to serve a year as a champion of this race, and if it wasn't for all the people that were volunteers and fans and people involved in the race, I wouldn't have been able to be the champion of any race. So yeah, they are the race.
Do you think of any particular story that comes to mind of some volunteers helping you out or somebody along the trail helping you out that made it worth it?
Oh, there would be numerous stories from all of us, but
most importantly, it would be remembering that all the volunteers that do day after day, including the board of directors who volunteer to be on the board, to be a part of it.
Any litters this year? Any new dogs?
I haven't had any new dogs yet. The dogs, for some reason, due to the weather or whatever, haven't come into heat. They will, but they haven't yet.
Yay, John Baker! John Baker! Welcome to Nome!
Hello, John.
Congratulations, John.
Good, John.
The dogs seem to be a pretty good dog team, and probably weren't managed nearly as well as they should have been. And ended up finishing strongly, so that's a good sign for them. So probably wasn't where I wanted, but that's fine.
Yay, John Baker! John Baker! Welcome to Nome!
Hello, John.
Congratulations, John.
Good, John.
The dogs seem to be a pretty good dog team, and probably weren't managed nearly as well as they should have been. And ended up finishing strongly, so that's a good sign for them. So probably wasn't where I wanted, but that's fine.
These next four presenting sponsors, their representatives are here. It's our newest principal partner, TCI, our Brent Task Board President, Mr. Mark.
We're going to do it with both local and long-distance telephone.
This is going to be the one. I can see the excitement in your eyes, the ones that are still open.
Thanks, Mark. So how time flies. This is Mark's.
So how is Cindy Valley?
As long as we can keep on schedule, I think I can do that. Joanne has a few.
And that don't get in a panic because you don't know before you leave the race. Get you howling for you and one other person. You can't house 4 or 5 handlers and all your relatives.
Today's kind of the shakeout day for all the mushers. They call the roll, make sure everybody's alive, present, and have their dog team ready. They will get all the information as to where to park on 4th Avenue, what the trail's going to be like to the Campbell Airstrip, when to be in Willow, and get all their packets, all their information, and just let everybody know that we're ready to go. After lunch, I think Mark will clear the room for only drivers only, and he will go over on a blow-by-blow basis what the trail's like from here to Squentina, Squentina to Finger, Finger to Rainey. Andy Willis has had a crew out for about 10 days working on trail and alleviate some of the fears that it's not as bad and all the horror stories probably won't come to be true. And it just let everybody know what they're looking forward to. Tonight's the banquet where they all draw their name, but everybody gets a free day tomorrow to bring their blood pressure down a couple of points and get their cookers mended, all their booties, say goodbye to mom and dad or husbands and wives, and because Saturday is 1, 2, 3, go.
First, I want to thank the Millennium Hotel for being a great host to us again here this year. This has been a special tradition that we've had, I think, since day one when the hotel was involved with our sponsorship. I'd like to introduce Patrick Cashman. He's the Food and Beverage Director for the Millennium Hotel. He has a few words to say.
Remember, your dogs are the way to paradise. They don't know evil, jealousy, or discontent. They are loyal, they don't hold grudges, and you are their idols. The entire Millennium Alaskan Hotel celebrates you and your canine companions. We are honored to host all the participants of the last great race. And to the canine athletes, our heroes and best friends, take your
Do one more toast with
I guess if the wind picks up like it's supposed to, and they get there to Iditarod before any of that weather, it could make a big difference. I mean, if you're battling 30-mile-an-hour winds across that trail that's already not much of a trail, and it's drifted in, and they get a decent trail over there, it could be a game changer. But we're also not sure exactly what's going to happen with the weather, because the forecast isn't always right. But I don't know, we'll see. You know, sometimes stopping in Takotna and then going on is the right thing to do, and sometimes going farther is the right thing to do. It's kind of an unknown, and I think this year, I think the reason a lot of teams are going this year is because the trail's been so good. But now there's this weather factor that could shake things up even more.
So in your mind, what's the bigger factor, wind or 3 to 4 inches of snow?
If it was 3 to 4 inches of snow on top of a good base, that's not that big of a deal. But if it's 3 or 4 inches of snow on top of a trail that's already busted up and you're punching down through even more, that could make for a really tough run. But you know, wind isn't a big deal if it's not drifting and stuff like that. But if it's drifting the trail in, then it's a big deal.
Well, they'll be able to leave their rested teams, obviously, and there is a chance that the teams behind them won't have much of a trail. They're running their own teams. That's what they figure is best. And a lot of people in this race are not being that conservative, surprisingly. Are really going for it, which is really good to see. So there's a lot of really strong teams out there going after it. We'll all go to Iditarod with a couple of teams going all the way over there, no matter what the conditions are, even if it's a 14-hour run, whatever. And that'll be fine enough, and then those teams will take 4 or 5 hour break and do the same thing to go to Anvik. Now you'll see then, right then. Even the teams that went on to Iditarod, we'll see how they do getting to Anvik. That's the run that'll show, and then they'll put 2 more after that. 2 more runs, just the same type of runs, and short breaks. So we got to get as rested as we could right now.
Had some people. I
was lucky enough to get jury duty this month, so I've been working out of a group of kids. But
Alaska since 1956. It just keeps going, providing a good quality product and a good.
You got to do better than Jake. So help me out.
I don't know if she loved me, but she respected me. I don't know if I loved her, but I respected her. But in this case, we have made a difference.
Bishop music such as Tanana and Ruby and Galena and Mulatto are all going to get us.
Wonderful.
11. How many dogs, John?
14.
Official time in is 8:30. Oh, 8:30. Get you to sign this. You staying for a while? You're number 3.
What is this?
0600. 077. You're at 8:30.
2.5 hours.
You staying for a while? Okay. So, John, see the people across the road up there? You're going to make a sharp, sharp left there.
Wonderful.
Number 11. How many dogs, John?
14.
Official time in is 8:30. Oh, 8:30. Get you to sign this. You staying for a while? You're number 3.
What is this?
0600. 077. You're at 8:30.
2.5 hours.
You staying for a while? Okay. So, John, see the people across the road up there? You're going to make a sharp, sharp left there.
On through, on through, on through. G. On through. Good dog. Good dog. Oh, yeah. Hey, welcome. How's your run going? What's your plan? We're going to swing wide. You can just follow the floor, although. Get you all set up. You're all good to go. Get your time here. Thanks, sir.
Okay, so you say just follow somebody?
Follow right there on the glow stick. She's
The
waving
guy
the glow
with the
stick.
Do I need to get a...
They're going to bring the straw and the heat to you, John. Right to you,
you.
John, once we get you in there, okay?
Okay, if you want to go ahead, then I'll follow.
He's ready to follow you. On through, on through, on through. G. On through. Good dog. Good dog. Oh, yeah. Hey, welcome. How's your run going? What's your plan? We're going to swing wide. You can just follow the floor, although. Get you all set up. You're all good to go. Get your time here. Thanks, sir.
Okay, so you say just follow somebody?
Follow right there on the glow stick. She's
The guy
waving
with
the glow
the
stick.
Do I need to get a...
They're going to bring the straw and the heat to you, John. Right to you,
you.
John, once we get you in there, okay?
Okay, if you want to go ahead, then I'll follow.
He's ready to follow you.